Everybody, welcome back to Bumping the Mic. And tonight we're going to be kicking off a new series. Now, every haunting sounds convincing when it's told the right way. Tonight we're going to be testing you. One of the stories we're about to tell is backed by historical record, the other is entirely fiction. It's up to you to spot the difference. This is going to start our series, Fact or Phantasm. Now, like I said, we're going to tell you two stories. At the end of the video, you can comment below which one is true and which one is false. And in our next episode of this series, we'll tell you what the answer was. So we'll get rolling. Clyde, give us our first story.
All right. Story number one. So, in 1829, a prison was opened in Philadelphia. It was new, it was large, it was revolutionary, and it was brutal. So, prisoners were kept in near isolation. Meals were slid through tiny holes in the doors, and whenever they would be taken out of the cell, hoods would actually be placed on their heads so that they couldn't see or speak to any prisoners or see even where they were being moved to or from. The design was meant to inspire penitence. Instead, many prisoners reportedly suffered mental deterioration. And it was so bad in this prison that historical records show that when prisoners would be punished, sometimes they would be moved to solitary confinement for years at a time. Years without having any contact with another human being. So, after this had been going on for some time, in the early 20th century, the first reports started coming in of strange occurrences, and those reports were from guards and from prisoners. And it started with reports of hearing things that shouldn't have been there in places where no one was, whispers in empty cells, whispers in hallways. And it even came down to reports of shadow figures moving in places that no one was, down hallways, in and out of cells, especially around cell block 12. And they even had a figure described as a dark mass with a human shape. And that was reported by locksmiths that came in to actually work on the locks in the prison during the 1980s during a restoration, so long after the prison was closed. So they've had reports from the early 20th century all the way up until the 1980s. Now, you can actually still visit this prison, and modern tour guides and investigators have documented everything from cold spots, disembodied footsteps, voices, and equipment malfunctions inside this prison. And I mean, this isn't just folklore. This prison was operated up until 1971. So the records exist. The building still stands. You can visit it. And we have plenty of documented paranormal occurrences inside this prison.
Allegedly, anyway.
Alleged.
Right? All right, well, story two. We're going to go back again to the 1800s, specifically to the late 1800s, to a place called the Ashmore Freight Depot. Now, it was a small Midwestern rail junction that handled mostly livestock shipments and late-night freight transfers between trains and rail cars, that type of thing. Now, according to regional accounts, a switching accident occurred one November night when a brakeman named Thomas Hale was reportedly crushed between two rail cars during a coupling maneuver. Witnesses allegedly claim that they heard him screaming for several minutes before the train finally stopped. Rail records supposedly list the death as accidental. In the months following, workers reported hearing metal clanging in the empty yards after midnight. Lantern lights were seen swinging into the depot after closing, and one night watchman claimed he saw a man standing between the tracks, lantern in hand, who then vanished when he was approached. The depot closed in 1912 after a fire destroyed much of the structure, but local lore says that trains still slow unexpectedly when passing through this area. Engineers claiming they've seen a man standing between the cars swinging a lantern back and forth. So now one of these stories has historical documentation, the other's completely fabricated. Which one is it? Let us know in the comments below, and then we'll let you know which one it was on our next episode of Fact or Phantasm. Thanks for playing, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah.